look like it's coming from like a foreign country, but this is just me trying to get my visa, okay? So just keep that in mind. Hey guys, what's up? What going on? It's your girl Nika of Traveling with Nika, and today I am back with another video, and we are actually going to be talking all about the e-visa process for Kenya. So you guys would know that I visited Kenya in late 2022, and all of the vlogs are already on my channel. So if you missed those, definitely go ahead and watch part 1 and part 2 of the Kenya travel vlog to see my entire experience. So one of the requirements for getting into Kenya was actually to obtain a visa for entry. So as a US citizen, I did have to complete the visa application to get to Kenya. So I was able to do my visa online, and I want to just put like a little disclaimer out there. You need to be very careful when you are doing visas for countries, because there are a lot of different scam websites and things, you know, out there. Yes, there are reputable companies that can do the visas for you, but honestly, I feel like a lot of these visas are very straightforward, and once you can read and write, you will be able to figure out the application. So I personally wouldn't really like pay anyone to do some of the visas that are a little bit more straightforward. So for the Kenya visa process, I did my own visa and filled out my own application. I even took my own photos as well and just did my photos based on the requirements that they had, and I was literally good to go. My visa was actually approved in under 24 hours. So let's get right into it. So one of the first things that I do prior to me traveling, or prior to me even figuring out if I need a visa or not, is I go to the travel.state.gov website, because as a US citizen, the government of the US would literally be telling me if I need a visa to enter the country that I'm going to be visiting. So I always go to that website, type in the country, and it literally will tell me even like how many passport pages that I need to have blank to enter that country, you know, if there are any vaccines that are required for me to enter that country as a US citizen, what type of visas, or if there is a visa requirement that I need. So I always kind of make that my starting point to figure out the requirements for the country that I'm going to be traveling to. So from that website, it also normally has the links to the official website that you would need to maybe apply like for a visa for that country. So that's when I know for sure that the website that I'm going to be clicking on is legit and is not like some type of scam, okay? The next thing that you would want to do is just read through the requirements before you even try to start your application. They tell you straight up like what size your picture needs to be, the type of background, make sure that you're not wearing certain clothing, all of these things. They set that information out for the Kenya visa. So make sure that you read through that information prior to starting your application. Before starting your application, you want to make sure that you at least have the accommodation information of where you're going to be staying, and you need to make sure that you also have like the email address for that location, the phone number, and also the address for the location to be able to put that in your visa application. For your personal information, of course, you would need to just have like what's on your passport, your legal name, you know, when your passport is expiring. You want to make sure that you also have like your next of kin information, because you do have to put that in the application as well. Their phone number, you have to put in your parents' information. So like your parents' name, you have to put in like if they're alive, deceased, all of that in the Kenya visa application. Another thing that you want to make sure that you know offhand prior to you starting the application is any of your recent travel history. They are going to ask you to list all of the countries that you visited within the last 3 months. So within the last 3 months, you need to tell them where you've been and for how long. So you need to put like, you'll need to type in the country, the length of your stay, and like when you visited. I would say one of the nuances to the Kenya visa application was the requirements of like the sizes for the files. I definitely had issues with that, where I had to keep resizing things because they were not accepting, like they will be like, oh, it's too big basically. So like my picture that I have of like my passport that I already have, you know, scanned in from whenever, that was literally too big for me to upload in the system. So I had to keep like resizing and making sure that it was in the correct format that they require. So I ended up uploading like a JPEG, and I just resized like on my computer to fit the size requirements that they needed. So I had to upload a front copy of my passport and also the biometric page where like your photo and all your data is held. So when it comes to the photo taking portion of the application, you have to make sure that it's like, you know, a recent photo, and they have the whole list of requirements that you need to make sure that you read. If you're going to be taking your own picture, make sure that when you do take the picture, it is of course on like a plain background. So I took mine just literally against my wall, and it was like a plain off-white type background. And what I did was I actually used like a resizer online. I think I did probably pay like a small fee for them to resize it into the exact, you know, passport size photo size that Kenya required for the visa application, because that's going to be the picture that they literally put on your application. So it needs to be a certain size. And I know people that got their visa rejected because they did not upload the correct size. So yes, the sizing is definitely important. If you are going to take your own picture like I did, I just used my tripod and I took my picture. And again, I just used like an online, I think there are probably free like resizers, but I think I only paid like a few dollars to make sure that mine was resized into the correct format. If you want, you can of course just pay, go to like your local place that would take passport pictures and give them the requirements for the visa to take your picture if you want to just do that. But I was able to just save money and take my picture on my own. So the cost of the e-visa was $51 US. And one of the things that I want to say when you are filling out the application is to ensure that you either notify your bank that you're going to be making this charge, because you can possibly get like your CAD being rejected. I use one of my credit cards that of course don't charge me any foreign transaction fees. So I was able to just pay like my flat $51 to be able to process my e-visa. And personally, my payment was able to go through just fine, but I know people have had issues with using certain credit cards and things like that. So you may want to just, as a precautionary measure, you may just want to like notify your bank like, hey, you have this charge coming up. You know, it's going to maybe look like it's coming from like a foreign country, but this is just me trying to get my visa, okay? So just keep that in mind. As I mentioned in the beginning, my visa came in actually under 24 hours, and I was definitely hyped because I was like, yes. They sent an email to basically say that, you know, your visa was approved and into the system, and so that it said like issued. So I know I was literally good to go. Overall, I think that the visa process was very easy, but that's because I read ahead of time and got myself prepped with all of the information that I would need to be able to successfully fill out the visa application. I think it can be a little bit stressful if you know, maybe don't have like the information that you would need able to successfully complete your application. The one hiccup, as I mentioned to you guys, was more so about like the sizing of the files. So just keep that in mind that you may need to resize or make sure that you have the correct format for the passport photo that you're taking, that you have to upload, or even the application photo for the visa itself. Just ensure that those are not like very large size photos, because you will have to resize them. And that was pretty much my only thing that I had to kind of tweak. Other than that, again, the process was super simple. So I hope that this video was informational and helpful for you if you are going to be visiting Kenya, so that you know what to expect when you are completing the e-visa application. That's all I have for today's video. See you guys on the next one. Bye.